Seems like we're live. Good morning, everybody. I'm a little bit later than I wanted. I'm apologize for that. So I actually don't think I'm gonna be able to do what I had planned yesterday to achieve. So yeah, I had to bring my kids to school today, and on Fridays usually I'm the one doing that, and that takes a little bit longer than I anticipated. So I only have like it's already almost 9, so I have a little bit like an hour to go, and so I decided to do today instead of trying to finish it up and rush. I think I'm gonna try to do a facial expression because if I send the files like this with the characters with such a neutral pose, the client might not understand where I'm going for, and it feels too much like dolls. So I took myself some photos with my phone and then sent to me. So prepare to laugh. Yeah, it's just like a reference from the expressions that I want to have. So I'm torn between this. The top ones will be for the kid on the top, which is like this joyful expression, and the bottom ones is for the kid that has his hair being yeah, his head being pressed down by the young one. I'm following pretty much like this image, concept wise, the expression for the idea for the expressions. So I'm gonna have like this pretty much like as my reference while sculpting, and I'm gonna start with the little kid. Right. The first thing I'm gonna do is duplicate the head, just in case. So I mess up. I have a saved one, so I'm gonna move it to a new collection. I'm gonna just call it head kid one, and that I will hide. This is just like a safety measure. And okay, for let's just jump in. The important thing about the expression is like getting rid of the symmetry, because if you see like the photo, expressions are never really symmetrical. If you try to make like with symmetry, you're gonna tell right away that is that's something wrong. Although the models already lost a little bit of the symmetry because of when we changed the central the pivot point. So I actually could do it with the symmetry right now, because since the central point, the symmetry point is not the center of the character anymore, it will be already a little bit of symmetry. But for that, I would just like remove it completely. So what I want to achieve here on the expression is a laugh, right? He's like a very big smile. So for that, I'm gonna use a lot of the lasso. You can do lasso masking in Sculpt by holding Ctrl and Shift, and then you paint. And what does the lasso masks allow us to do is that I can, for example, paint in here like geometry like this, and whatever is masked is not going to be affected, right? And the same way I can invert the mask with a Control I, and I could paint like in the bottom and the top not going to be affected. But what the lasso is good is because you can actually do something like this, and then using the new transpose, this one, the pose brush, it really behaves almost like if it had a bone. So you can like control it by the size of the brush, the position where it's gonna be. And the only thing I want to do is like open his mouth a little bit. It's kind of messing up a little bit with my neck here, so I have to be a little bit careful here. And it's okay, like this is fine. I just wanted to open the mouth a tiny little bit. So now I'm gonna grab my grab brush, and I'm gonna clean it up, and I'm gonna move the interior of the mouth inside a little bit. I'm gonna clear my mask with Alt M to clear the mask. I just wanted to open a little bit the space where for me to pull the mouth inside. I could have done this just with the brush mold, just with the move brush anyway, and probably it would have been easier. Yeah, but this is again, that's like I said, there is no right answer, right? You use the tool that you think are gonna give you the best result, and probably even more than one tool could give a similar result. So your experience is gonna tell you what you should use. And I will redynamesh the model and remesh the model very often, so I have like a more consistent geometry, because when I move, the polygons got completely stretched, and that is really hard to work on when you have like a stretched geometry. I'm gonna use my Sculpt draw, my draw sculpt, just to pull the surface inside here. I just want to open like a hole for the mouth. And remeshing again. So this is gonna be a lot of remeshing, so I have more geometry to work with, and repositioning. Alright, now I'm gonna use my grab and just move the things in place. And now you have like to think a little bit about the muscle, right? The muscles of the face. If it has like a big smile like this, you usually have this fat around your nose crumbling up. I have to get better on anatomy and learn the name of the muscles. I apologize for that. It's yeah, I mean anatomy is something that we as an artist have to always be studying, and I recognize that I'm lacking behind on that in that regard, and I have to improve on that. I already bought like some anatomy books to read. Just have to find the time now. That's like it's the problem from all of us, right? It's really hard to find the time to do the things we want to do. So yeah, you have to push through, right? You have to force yourself to find the time, because it's with so many distractions, and I think like society nowadays, it's really tailored to get distracted. I mean, if you have your phone, it's so much things that trying to grab your attention and hook you up to not letting you go, because like the social platforms, they made money out of that, right? The longer you stay on their platform, the more money out of you they're gonna do. They're not charging you per se, but they charge the advertisers and things that they want to sell on their platform based on how many people gonna be there consuming their content. And it's even more problematic because they use like those algorithms for getting like what you really like. So the content is very tailored for your interests, which makes you really don't want to leave. So it's yeah, I mean, yeah, but my point is like it's very easy to get distracted nowadays, and when you get distracted, you usually don't accomplish what you had planned to do. So that's why I'm always like trying to make a little plan for when I'm doing like miniatures like this. I try to always make a little plan like what I want to achieve, and also to see if I can actually fulfill like my requirement for the day. And if I don't, I haven't posted the video, and actually I haven't done on this model yet, but usually when I don't fulfill my plan for the day, I try to find like some extra hours in the night to work on, to at least to get to the point where I was happy with, like the point that I said I wanted to be. And yeah, it worked for me. It's the makes me kind of happy that way. I don't know if it's for everybody. Probably it's not. It's very unique, not unique, but it's very personal. Just be aware of distractions around you. but also don't forget to leave, right? I mean, this is also, I have like as I mentioned already in the videos, I have a little I have a little kids and I have a family, and my family is more important than my artwork, for me at least, right? So I have to balance, like sometimes I have to leave time for to play with the kids because they're only gonna have this age now, right? They are in a very cute phase right now. They are still very young. The teenagers haven't started yet. I'm afraid when they do. So yeah, that's also important for when you pick up the jobs you want to do, right? Think not just about the money, but like the commitment that's gonna be, because when you accept a client, it is a commitment that you're doing, and yeah, you have to be true to your commitments, because one of the bad things that can happen to an artist is like you say you're gonna do something and you don't do, and you don't fulfill it, because uh, reliability is very important. Uh, Especially like, for example, in my job, my boss has to trust my. I have to be reliable to my boss. If I tell her I'm gonna do something, I have to do. Doesn't matter how, I have to do, because even if you have to do extra hours to fulfill what you said you would do, because that's how he will trust you again in the future, right? Trust is it's very easy to mess up if you breaking it up, and then I mean, yeah, you have to think about that, right? It's people want to work. It's better to work with people that's reliable, because if you said that you're gonna do something, you have to do it. And when you get a client, that is pretty much what you're doing. It's go to your reputation, right? If you start lacking behind and losing sight of what is important, you kind of can affect your career. I um, I like the way my eyebrows on this photo are very like making this arc. So I'm gonna try like to simulate it here with this. I'm gonna just draw on the model for now, like how I want it to be. And I haven't drawn like the eyebrows yet, and I probably model the eyebrows. I need to model them because so it's a little bit detached from the face. It's gonna be easier for when printing. And yeah, I wanna have teeth as well on the character, right? Because to see like on the concept that he has, and I think like little teeth here, it's gonna make like the face more cute, and not so this emptiness. And I'm thinking also like since it's he's pulling like this way, the muscle, it will bulge a little bit in here, so a little wrinkle in here it's gonna make. But you have to be very careful, especially he's a kid, right? So kids don't usually have very pronounced wrinkles. So if I add a wrinkle here, it's just like to emphasize the amount of flesh that is in here. So actually might be easier if I just I use like the inflate, because what the inflate does is actually pulling towards its normal, and it's pretty much like adding volume to the muscle, and that's pretty much what actually happens. Like if you think about how the compression of the muscle is, it's just it bulges together and pushes forward towards its what would be its normal. So it mimics very well the way muscle would behave. And if I compress like if I that's like my thinking. If I push like in this way, I want to push like in this way, but not as much, because I want like it to. So you read like more like this side here is more compressed than this one, and I also gonna compress a little bit of the eyes. You know, because I mean, especially I remember this very well. Like my kids, when they smiling, they have they get very small eyes. They really, when the face will compress itself, it kind of uh, shrinks down the eyes a lot. So keep that in mind. I think for today, if I manage to get like a face of one of the kids in the expression, that is good. That because as I said, like the same reason why I start detailing a little bit more the head is because I like to get like one part more or less towards a quality level that I am more happy, because it helps. Then I always have like a point of reference for the other parts of the model. Like you kind of want to keep a constant pace. So if you have like, if I like detail this one, then I have to detail more or less the rest of this stuff to match that quality. So for me, that's why it's important to have like, and I like to go with the face first, because it is the central, the focal point. You will naturally you will look first to face. We are wired for that. So if you get like an expression, one good expression, then I already have my benchmark, right? And then I will use that to guide like how the other face should look. Okay, I'm okay. This face kind of works. I will change the matte cap. Matte cap is like a way of shading your model. Right now I'm using the studio. The studio lights are these ones. You can actually change the lighting by clicking on those little spheres, and you can even rotate them around. Um, yeah, you have to turn on that button, and then you can rotate the lighting around. Actually, this is very good, because it helps you to see the the surface. So because this via this CG lighting sometimes is kind of makes it a little bit harder for you to read the volume. And but okay, I'm getting distracted again. So this is the studio lighting, right? That's the one I was working before, the first one. And the matte cap actually is like spheres that have the lighting baked into them. So there is like a bunch that comes already with Blender, and I usually like to change between these two, because I with since it's a lighting that is baked on the model, if you rotate, the lighting rotates with you, right? And it is it's always good to be changing between these two modes to check on your volumes. And sometimes I find like the colors are distracting, and you can just disable by changing here from object to material. Since like they don't have material applied to them, they are gonna have like the default white sphere, so makes everything white. And you can clearly see like the difference in polygon geometry, the details. You see like the head is way more geometry than the bodies. In the end, all the model gonna have like this quality of detail. That's where I'm gonna push for. But for the bodies and stuff, by just subdividing, it's gonna look very good. So I'm not worried about that now. It's actually, it is easier to work first with low poly. I'm gonna add here a cylinder. The reason for this cylinder that I'm adding is just to be the teeth. And also I don't want to model like a real teeth like this, because if I model this here, imagine like here would be like the lips, right? And then here is like the teeth, the gum, right? And the tongue was here, and then here is under teeth. I hope you understand what I mean, right? So this face is here, it would be very hard to print. So it's better to just model like that, like this all here solid. So you don't have like resin to get in stuck behind the face. So that's why I'm just gonna use like okay, I hope you understand what I mean. But it's that's why I'm just gonna keep like a cylinder like that. I'm just concerned about the front of the face of the gums. The rest it works the way it is. So I just converted this to. I'm gonna apply since I changed the scale, I have to apply the scale, and then I convert it to sculpt mode, and I can lower my resolution, and I don't even have to. I can probably just use my oh no, I can't. I'm gonna first like model with the low poly, just to get in place where I want the teeth to be. And one thing like kids have, like they have huge frontal. The first two teeth, they are very big. I mean, especially like when they are around 6 years old, because they're just changing her teeth, right, to the bigger one, to the new ones, and yeah, the teeth already has a proper size of an adult teeth in a small kid's face, so it looks massive. And my daughter is just changing her frontal teeth, and I think it's very cute and funny. Yeah, I don't want to model the lines between teeth, because this sort of detail, it's not. I find that it kind of makes just noise, and it kind of looks a little bit creepy. I think. So I'm just gonna kind of like very cartoony, very like flat, like this. Maybe a little bit more forward. And yeah, I don't actually think I need a bottom teeth. Oh, I'll try just to see how it looks. I probably don't need. Probably like just the top ones will suffice. But just for the curiosity. Yeah, I think like just I think like these details now, they are too close, and when they merge, it's gonna be hard to. Well, I'm gonna make like a little volume like this, so if the person who paints wants to paint this as a tone, actually it could be interesting. Then move the teeth a little bit more up. Okay. Could work. And I noticed like it has one that is broken. This is something that works very well on the 2D drawing, but I don't think it would work so well on the 3D model. We can try to see how it looks, maybe. Well, that is the character, right? So we should try at least to see if I don't like, I can always remove. Yeah, maybe he chewed on some thing that he shouldn't have and broke a tiny piece of his teeth. I'm gonna zip off my coffee before it gets cold again. I think he needs a little bit more detail on the head and the hair now. So I'm gonna shrink down a little bit more. Now that we have like the character in a pose, we can actually start thinking about like the design of the hair, if it's really helping the story we're telling with the model. Because now when we first modeled it, it was just a generic hair, right? It was just like to give them more or less the idea of the hair of the character. But now the hair has to support the whole action. It is a very big piece on the very central point of interest. So we can use this opportunity. I mean, we don't have to, but we should use this opportunity to guide the viewer. So what I'm thinking is I want to have like a flock more over here, maybe one more there. I think it's too much like this way, you know, like everything going just towards this direction. And if I see here on this image, he also has some that goes the other way, so I will spike him a little bit like this now. And maybe like someone here that is just lost on directionality and they don't go where they should have gone. It's like yeah, maybe flying around. And if I'm making a hair like flying, I will try like to always keep it the points up like that, so it's easier to support. Like you don't want to have like a point that comes like this, because when the printer is printing, it prints like from bottom up, right? I mean, yeah, 3D printer, if resin is the other way around, but it's then you flip the model. But it's coming like this way, right? So if you do like if you have like this sort of arch, you have like to support this first, because your printer cannot like come here and then go down. But if you do like the other way, like the hair like this, so you just have like to add the resin can go this way and just not adding resin here. Oh, I'm getting distracted and losing so much time. Oh, I hope you guys at least enjoy the explanation. I mean, it also helps me to think when I'm telling you guys this, so it's also is mutual beneficial. I'm still kind of new to printing. I've been like modeling for quite some time actually, but printing it has its own, has a lot of yeah, things that can go wrong. And for me actually a lot of things go wrong, and I'm learning by doing that. That's why I bought myself a printer, but I don't offer a printing service because I don't think like I have enough knowledge to use that as in a professional way. I just print for my pleasure and for having a copy of the models that I do. And if you are a sculptor, I would highly recommend you to getting a printer. Now you guys can get, nowadays you can get printer very cheap with very good quality. I have like a Anycubic Photon, which I'm very happy with. I'm actually thinking about later on getting a new one, a Lego Saturn that has a bigger building plate, because I like to print miniatures a little bit bigger, and the way it is right now, I would have like to split the model into smaller cuts to make like in multiple prints, and that's the theory. I haven't tried to done one to draw one, because I'm still failing on normal prints, and every time you fail takes a lot of effort to clean everything up. But it is fun. I mean, you just have like to have the place to do it. Always, if you're doing with resin, be careful if you have animals or kids around, because resin is a little bit nasty. And yeah, but it is really. And if you guys just subscribe to the YouTube channel that I said that I'm gonna do, and I will be modeling some concept from artists that I admire, and I'm a fan of their artwork, and I will always try to print the model that I do. It's a commitment that I'm trying to make to force myself to improve on printing. Okay, I don't want to make it completely spicy, because as I said before, right, you need like places for resting. I just want a little bit in here, because this, I think it will help with like the silhouette. I'm just thinking about breaking the silhouette a little bit towards the side there. It will be fun, the hair of the second brother, the oldest brother, the one that this one is pressing down, because some of the hair is gonna be like being affected by the fingers, and I think it's gonna be challenging to model that, and fun challenge actually. I'm I think that this flock here, it's kind of too close to the eyebrows, and it's kind of, the idea was, when I model, is like that it's pointing towards the eyes, that you should look there. But this, to start with, as I said, it will be harder to support this sort of thing, because yeah, you're gonna need the support right here. And I actually think it was kind of big, too crowded over here, so you wouldn't actually reading the facial expression at all. So I'm gonna change this, and actually I'm gonna make it pointing up instead of pointing down how it was. Uh, First off, because of the support thing that I mentioned before, right? It's I always want to have like the bigger volume, and then the uh, fading into to a point towards up. And I want to have like the, I think it's already like, since this arch of the expression already brings your eye back down, and then you would have like this arc again pointing towards the eyes. I felt it was kind of like too many voices saying, and it was distracting. Yeah, so sometimes it's hard to put into words what's going in my head. You know, how to describe this sort of things is a lot about feelings and why the. I mean, it's not just feelings like how I feel like this, but it's feelings based on stuff that I read and on other artists and other artwork and some composition guidelines. But it's very hard to nail exactly like I have done this because of that. And I mean, as long as I have as long as you have an argument for a reason why are you doing your actions, I think it's valid, right? It's as I said, like I could explain you, I could tell you, I changed it up because of the eye or the curve, which my original thought was like to help emphasize this area. It was getting distracted because I already changed the facial expression. So I think like now it reads better overall. Yeah, I think today I'm only gonna be able to do the small kid. I'm sorry about that. Maybe tonight I can stream a little bit more. We'll have to see. Uh, I tend not to stream much in the night because, especially, I like to sculpt sometimes in the night, but I cannot make videos because I have to respect like the other households and my wife and the kids. And in the night it's better. It's the bedtime, and yeah, it's actually sometimes when I actually spend time with my wife as well. So it's not always that I gonna come a model. I will see. And I don't want to work on this model without being streaming, since I have done since the first stroke. I kind of want to make like I'm trying to force myself to do the entire model in a video, in this video format, and speaking about what I'm doing, because I think it can be interesting. I only gonna know when after it's published, so maybe I'm just talking to void here, but you never know. Important thing is like I'm having fun doing this, and if one person sees that and it's valuable for one person, it was completely worth it. So if you are this person and whatever you saw here will help you somehow, just let me know. I will be very glad about that. I want to have some. I don't want to put too much lines in the hair because, as I said, you need a place for your eyes to rest. I'm just trying to break a little bit here and there, so it's yeah, you have like a main direction, but you have like a secondary detail. Like, you know, like for example here, this cut here is your primary form. I mean, if I was speaking about like in detail level like this in forms, but you have like your primary one, but I want to add a tiny little curves here and there just like as a secondary. That is not so distracting when you're from far away. You barely read it, but when you get closer, you actually see them, and that is That's what I mean by my secondary and third detail on that. And also I'm gonna do some cuts inverse like this, just to pull it up a little bit of hair, and remember it's a little bit wavy, his hair, so I making the strokes very in the curvy way, just to make like flocks of hair like this. I actually should check if flock is a proper word. As I said, English is not my main language. Sorry if it's not. But I hope you understand what I mean. I'm bunching the hair together. Okay, almost 9:30. I think I'm gonna go until 9:40, 9:45, and then I have to stop and prepare myself for work. I like the waviness on the hair a little bit here. It's cool. I like this S curve on the hair. I'm gonna now just use my crease brush to emphasize just the main shapes, the main cuts. As I said before, like the crease pulls geometry close to each other. So I'm gonna use it just like on the edges, on the point where the surface turns. So this it's a good way like to. I usually do pinch them like this, and then I smooth on each side. So it gets very clear like where is the plane of the surface. Yeah, I really like the crease brush because of that. It feels a little bit like a sharp knife. It's kind of like drawing. You draw your directions, and the stronger you press on your tablet, the deeper it gets the cut. So you can, for example, I could like make a very sharp here, like this deep cut, or you can go very smooth and controlling exactly how I want it to approach each other. And now I'm more thinking about the volume, right? Like this here is one main flock, one main piece, and below here is another one. So I want to make like very distinct which one is which, and I want to make like a very sharp distinction between them, like a plain distinction between them, that you really see is like, okay, they are two things. As again, I'm gonna just make like a one cut like in the middle like this as a secondary detail, but it belongs to that below one. This is more when it's already like a starting of a cleanup process. I'm cleaning up the directions of my cuts and separating the elements. this is very relaxing. It's a very therapeutical thing. I think if you had a stressful day, you should try to sculpt a little bit before going to bed. It's a very, or to start the day, like in my case, it's a very nice way to start the day. I'm sorry, I forgot to close my email, so it's popping up a lot of messages. Yeah, this is the sort of thing that if I do more videos in the future, I have to be more careful for this not to happen. But again, I'm still learning, sorry. I'm flattening it up here with my scrape brush because I want this all to belong to the same surface, to the same group. Am I thinking in groups, right? Shape groups. I want it belongs to the same shape group, and I want to make a distinction in here because I wanted this to be a one, and then there is like another one there, almost like a manga hair. You know, like manga from these Japanese animations, that they have like a very distinct like blocks, kind of like this. I think this for printing it works very. It's very appealing to me. That you can. I mean, of course, like if you come here and paint later, you could paint like individual hair strands to differentiate them, but I think for modeling and lighting, simplicity it trumps the over details. And again, you have to think like how small this thing might have actually be printed, right? So it's a more design. It's more design than detail for now, actually. And it's for design. I really like to reference Linedecker. I think he was a design master. Like all his shapes, there's so much design on them. Not Rockwell as well, but not near as close Linedecker to me. So yeah, even though he's a illustrator and painter, and I'm more of a sculptor, you want to study that. You want to check different art styles and see what you can try to mimic other things into, analyze them and see what you can actually get for you. I think I'm too much time already spent on the hair. I think hair kind of works. Yeah, I say that when then I find some place that I can work more. Oh, 9. Haha, fool you. No, really, for sure now I have to move on, because I can't be doing this for hours. And I have to polish myself. I still have too much that I want to accomplish, and it's only 10 minutes more that I said that I'm gonna stay. So yeah, just gonna make like this turns a little bit more up because of the printing thing that I mentioned before. Like this is not a problem, right? Because you have just one point. What you don't want to have is like having 2 points on the same place. I mean, and if it happens, if you have, because it you rely that on your design is strong, then it's fine. I mean, yeah, if you have to support, you support. There is no. Don't also let like the intricacies of printing define too much of your design, right? Your sculpt comes first. I mean, this is at least for me because I'm a sculptor. If you have a reason for having the shapes like that, just go for it. And this thing here is I just modeled like last time. I just modeled the front and didn't care about the back. So now I'm gonna just fix this, and then yeah, it's time for me to preparing to turn off the stream. So I got just gonna model a little bit. And you see, like the hair there, it's not very optimal. And there is a huge hole here. I'm just gonna close that hole. The important thing is we're progressing, we're moving forward. It's not as far as I would have liked it to be, but yeah, it's consistency, right? Just try to do a little bit every day, and then eventually you're gonna have your model finished. Okay, I'm gonna just inflate a tiny little bit here because the points are getting too thin, and that can be problematic later on when I'm printing. You always want to have a little bit of thickness to your model. Don't work in too thin geometry, especially if you want to print later on. I found that, I mean, there's no rules, right? I mean, this is just observation. It's my own guidelines that I'm making. And here I am, back again at the hair. Here and there again. A book by Bilbo Baggins. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, looks interesting. Cute little hair, my friend. little hair. The fingers is the thing that I'm gonna do the last on the model. I only gonna do the fingers when the client approves the design, because changing the fingers after I collapsed them, that would be hard. I would probably just have to make a new one. So I will keep them like separated elements for now, because it's much easier for positioning and finding a nice pose. Okay, 41. Time to stop. Save. Let's put back the color so you can see with and I'm gonna take out the 3D cursor from his mouth so it's better to read. Ah, it looks funny with a little expression. So for tomorrow, I want to do the expression of the second kid. This one, the third kid actually. This is the oldest one. But yeah, I'm gonna make like trying to make his expression something like this two here, like he's in the drawing, kind of like, what are you doing, dude? You're gonna fall, right? Something like this, and especially the hair, because that's gonna be really fun to play with the hand of this one. He reminds me a lot of the Ayrton Senna, the cartoon Ayrton Senna from the Brazilian comic. Ayrton Senna, if you don't know, was a F1 race driver from the 90s, and I was a huge fan of him, as many Brazilians were. And yeah, and I still have to add the book and the necklace. That's why to getting closer to finishing the main props, because those are important for the storytelling and can actually affect a lot the silhouette on the character. So it's for me it's fun to always look around your model before you stop working, so you check your progress and think what you're gonna do next, and you already let your brain start processing and be like in the background doing some work for you, right? So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just looking around to see things that I have to fix tomorrow and where I see problems. And yeah, like all this hair, I have to move it to inside so you can better read the leg, because it's getting complicated to read what's going on there. And his hair is very curly, so it's gonna be even more than this one. It's gonna be really, really fun. So stay tuned. I see you guys tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed and had fun. And yeah, talk to you tomorrow. Bye bye.